This next sequence is something that you can practice at night after your day is done and before you get into bed. So we tend to run a million miles per minute, and by the time we get into bed, we really just want to flop into bed and just pass out from pure exhaustion. But it's really nice to take a few moments to release the day. And a lot of what we do is we wake up in the morning and we think about all the stuff that we have to do that day. And it can be very overwhelming. This is a nice practice that I invite you, as you are releasing and letting go, to take a few moments, and we'll do this together, to think about all the things that you actually accomplished. Thinking about all the things that you did is going to help to boost our confidence versus feeling like a failure for the things that we didn't do. So find your way onto your mat. And if you don't have a mat, you don't need one. It's perfectly fine. We're going to meet in child's pose. But first, let's take a moment to just make our way onto the knees or any comfortable seated position. Float the eyes closed and call all the pieces of ourselves into this now moment. Noticing where you're holding on to any areas of tension or tightness in your body, any aches or pains, without any judgment, without any excuses, without wanting things to be any different than they are. Our bodies are always talking to us and giving us information. Start to slow down your breathing, taking nice, long, controlled inhales and exhales. And as you inhale, push the belly out away from you. Fill up the lungs, let the chest rise, bring that breath all the way up through the collarbone, soften the shoulders, lift the heart. Exhale to release. When you think you've pressed out all the breath, press out a little bit more. And then inhale, push that belly out. Let the chest rise, bring that breath all the way up through the collarbone, pausing at the top. Soften the shoulders, soften the forehead, soften the jaw, hold the breath. Exhale to release with control. Last one, inhale fully, deeply, and completely. Use the full capacity of your lungs. Hold that breath up at the top. Soften those shoulders. Maybe tuck the tailbone a little bit. Crown of the head is lifting and reaching. And exhale to release. Good. Gently opening up the eyes. We're going to make our way into child's pose. Send the knees nice and far apart. Big toes touch and sink those hips back. You can use a block here to bring the earth up to you, or you can stack your fists and rest the forehead down onto stacked fists. Otherwise, bring the arms down, forehead down. And surrender to your day. Maybe even observe or visualize something that represents your day at the top of your mat, and just really surrender to everything that happened, all the experiences, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Let those hips sink back. Soften those shoulders, soften the jaw. Stay with that 3-part belly breathing. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths here. As you inhale, push the belly out away from you, fill up the lungs, bring that breath all the way up through the collarbone. And exhale through an open mouth and make a noise. Inhale fully, deeply, and completely. Push that belly out away from you. Bring that breath all the way up through the collarbone. Pause, and then open the mouth. Let it all out. And make a sound. Good. Last one. Inhale fully, deeply, and completely. Pausing at the top. Exhale through an open mouth. Good. Take a few breaths here. Notice where you're holding on to any tension in your body. Where can you soften and create space? Maybe it's the hips, the shoulders, the fingers, the toes, the low back. Good. And then slide those hands underneath the shoulders. Gently push the earth away from you. Make your way onto all fours. The knees are below the hips and the wrists are stacked below the shoulders. And we're going to work through some cat and cows here. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, pull the shoulders back down towards the hips. As you exhale, round the spine. Drop the chin to the chest. Separate out the shoulders. Pausing here. Inhale, soften the belly, soften the elbows, lift the chin up. Get a nice stretch in that throat. Moving nice and slow, pausing in each moment, in each pose. Exhale to release. Good, last one. Inhale, drop the belly. Soften the elbows, lift the chin up, pull the shoulders back. And exhale to round the spine. Push the earth away from you. Good. Good. And then go ahead and make your way onto your knees. Draw those shoulders up and back. Bring the hands behind you to the outsides of the hips. And if the fingertips touch, great. Otherwise, use a block. Inhale to lift your heart up towards the ceiling. Draw the head back. Take a few breaths here. Opening up the chest, opening up the throat. All too often during the day, we tend to bite our tongues or to close off our heart. So take a moment here to open and release. Take one more breath. And then exhale, coming back. Inhale those arms up. Gaze between the thumbs. As you exhale, take a nice twist. Bring the right hand to the left knee. Twist all the way around. Maybe tent those fingertips behind you, looking over your shoulder. If you want to have a different experience of the chest, of the stretch, of the twist, then bring the back of the hand to the knee. Take a few cleansing breaths here. Inhale, unwind out of the pose, gaze between the thumbs, maybe a slight back bend. As you exhale, take that twist on the opposite side. As you gaze over the shoulder, lift the chin slightly. And then inhale, unwind out of the pose. Arms come up, slight back bend. Exhale, float the arms down. Fan out the arms, fan out the fingers, spread wide. Drop the chin to the chest. Inhale to bring the arms up. Lifting the chin, lifting the gaze. Exhale, float the arms down. And they barely touch the earth. They just graze the earth. And then inhale up one last time. Clearing and cleansing our auras, anything energetically attached to us. So you can even mindfully just visualize yourself clearing and cleansing that out. Good. Now we'll make our way into legs up the wall. This is one of my favorite restorative yoga poses. And it's very easy to do when you don't need a lot. So drag your mat over to the wall or a chair. You're gonna bring your hip nice and close to the wall, and there's no graceful way to come in or out of the pose. And you're gonna swing the legs around and then scooch nice and close to the wall or again the chair, and then settle in. And if you want to have a blanket underneath the head and the shoulders, that's really nice. And you can stay here for 5, 10, up to 20 minutes. It's a great way to calm the central nervous system, and it promotes restful sleep. If this is not comfortable for you or you're working with some low back stuff, you can bring the feet to the wall and gently push and send that low back into your mat. So notice where you can make yourself 5 or 10% more comfortable. Make those adjustments now. Float the eyes closed, part the lips slightly. And the arms can be down by the sides or out in a wide T, whatever feels good for you. Take long, deep inhales and exhales here. Bend in the knees, bringing the knees into the chest, giving a squeeze, massaging out the low back, rocking from side to side. And then rolling over onto your right side, pushing your way up to a nice comfortable seated position. And again, you can hold that pose for as long as you'd like. Rest the hands down onto the knees, float the eyes closed. Take a moment to reflect on all that you've done today. List off in your mind, or even out loud, all the things that you accomplished. Even if it was as simple as enjoying a cup of coffee or folding half the laundry. And when that feels complete, gather the hands together in prayer, bow the face slightly towards the fingertips, giving yourselves gratitude for this day, for its experiences, for the lessons and the wisdom, and for all that you've accomplished. I wish you a wonderful night's rest. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.